Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Noah Unleashed. If you're new here, hi. I'm Melball Collins. I like Japanese wrestling, and this is Noah Unleashed, a weekly news and review show where I talk about the amazing company that is Pro Wrestling Noah over in Japan, or at least what I can get on Wrestle Universe. I am so excited to talk about this show today because this is the 25th anniversary show today from the Memorial Voyage in Osaka, and not only did we get a championship match with Yohei defending his championship against Atsushi Kotoge, longtime friend and rival, but we also got a debut on the show tonight, as well as a 25th anniversary odd pairing, we'll say, that we'll talk about in the main event. So, without further ado, let's get into it. But before we do, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below anything that you liked about the show, anything you liked about the Noah show, anything you want to talk about pro wrestling Noah. Let me know in the comments below. So let's get into match number one. Match number one was a six-man tag match that featured the team of Ulka Sasaki, Mosca, and the Sunshine Hero Junta Miyawaki taking on the team of Eita, Hajime Ohara, and Super Crazy. So I really liked, just to start off the match, I saw how Eita's got some gear that, or not some gear, but he's got a new name. Everyone's kind of getting these like new little monikers that I'm just loving in professional wrestling right now. Eita is called Numero Uno, and I love it. He's doing such a great job with his marketing. He's got some new shirts that you got to check out on Noah Global. If you guys want, I can start leaving links in the description box below where you can get your Noah merch, but I believe you can get to it from the link in their website down below. So let's get into it. What I noticed immediately was there was a different attitude with Ulka Sasaki. He probably had something to do with the fact he wasn't teaming with Kenoh. Um, but I found him a little bit more laid back, a little bit more fun in this match, not rocking the kind of like arrogant attitude that he has been when he's working either alone or with Kenoh. So I immediately liked this, especially like it's hard to be mean when you're teaming with someone like Amaska and Junta Miyawaki, especially when Miyawaki's out there taking pictures with the kids and stuff. So, starting this match off, we had Sasaki and Ohara with a series of reversals, which finds Sasaki in a bow and arrow at the expense of Hajime Ohara before being reversed into a pin by Sasaki. Something I liked about this combination of style is that you saw that fighting technicality with Sasaki, but then you see that lucha technicality coming in with Ohara. These two flowed very, very well together, very, very effortlessly. The speed of Ohara is just so incredible. And again, in combination with that fighting speed with Sasaki, they were able to flow through all of these reversals, submissions, holds. It was really, really cool. And at points, you even started to see like a little smile kind of creep across the face of Ulka Sasaki. So Miyawaki and Super Crazy got in here at one point, and Miyawaki really trying hard to get that arm drag on a much larger Super Crazy. At one point, Super Crazy just starting to knock him on the head and just smack him around. But Miyawaki was able to actually hit a really big Hurricanrana on him, followed by a big drop kick. So Amamiya in both Amaska and Miyawaki with a tag attempt, but Ohara comes in to help Super Crazy, and then Ohara ends up feeding. Ohara and Super Crazy both feed Amamiya backbreakers. Super Crazy taking a little bit longer. Amaska having to kick his legs a little bit more, but it was still a fun little stereo tag team from those two. So Ace came in and he was just drop kicking everybody. He was just not having it anymore. He was sick of being on the apron or something. Finishing up with a pin attempt on Amaska for two. There was a big arm drag from Amaska with a head scissors combo to Eita and Ohara to kind of get out of the ring. Sasaki in and able to do an arm drag on Miyawaki, but couldn't on everybody. What did I mean in there? Hmm. We also got to keep in mind, I was watching this live at 3 a.m., so I don't know what I was. Oh, us. Okay. Sasaki was in. He was able to take out everybody that Miyawaki could not, is what I was meaning to say there. But then Miyawaki did come in and hit a massive plancha on Ohara at the inside. This is when I noticed a little bit of an issue. As soon as he hit Ohara, he was immediately on top of him checking something. And we did notice that Ohara did have a little bit of a cut above one of his eyebrows at the end of the match. Didn't seem to bleed too much. Was still a little shocking to see at first, but seemed to be a-okay. So from here, where do we go? Eita reversing a sunset flip into a PK kick, followed by a double stomp on Sasaki. Ohara in to whip Sasaki into a double flapjack by Eita and Super Crazy on Sasaki for 2. And this is where, again, I noticed the blood on Ohara. Again, I assume he caught like an elbow or something coming off Miyawaki when he was landing, or maybe he just landed a little funny on the floor. I don't know. We'll talk about that a little later because it looked like it did happen a second time in, I believe, the second match. Yeah. So chaos ensues on the outside. A Viva Mexico spinning elbow drop from Super Crazy, but Sasaki is able to roll out of the way and catches Super Crazy in an armbar to tap him out. Very sudden end to this match, but I actually had a really good time with how it started. The pace of it was really good. I felt it was a really great kind of a starter match for the rest of the show, and it really did set up the show for some great entertainment that followed. You did see when they were leaving, Hara did seem a little briefly dazed, but walked out on his own accord, as these guys usually do. So from here, we're going to go on to match number 2, which was another 6-man tag match. But this one featured the combination of Tetsuya Endo and Los Copiadores, the team of Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane, the current GHC Jr. Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, I believe is how that goes, taking on the team of All Rebellion, the returning Harutoki, as well as Alejandro and Kai Fujimura. I was so excited. As soon as I heard the music, I knew exactly who it was. Nobody has such happy, just amazing, just get ready to go dance than Harutoki. I love it. So, yeah. Let's see here. At 3 a.m., at 3 a.m., it was really nice to get a little dancey dance in before the match started. So we started with Fujimura and Endo. Endo just kind of casually front flipping over Fujimura before they launch into this very fun series of just acrobatic kind of reversals, going into move attempts, reversing them, sliding into something else. Very, very fun start. It ended with the two of them going into, I think was going to be a split jump, and they almost kind of looked like they almost sacked each other there. But they were both kind of like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Very, very talented guys. I really enjoyed seeing the combination of style because I do find that Endo is more an aerial power wrestler, whereas Fujimura is very more that lucha libre style. So this combination worked very, very well for the two of them. So Alpha Wolf and Alejandro in the size differential was hilarious. Alejandro is just a little adorable little, I almost call him the Hello Kitty kind of guy, and then you had Alpha Wolf, who's just always nomming on everybody. There was a test of strength in the beginning, followed by shoulder blocks to the cheering of the crowd. Unfortunately, Alejandro just not big enough to knock the larger Alpha Wolf down. Looked like Alpha Wolf was going for a dive, but Alejandro just so quick. He slides back in the rings as Alpha Wolf kind of collapses out of the ring, and then looks like he's about to go, or sorry, he goes to the apron there, feeds a drop kick to Alpha Wolf, knocking him to the floor, and then looks like he's going to do his little kind of like a kind of dive. He ends up doing this little 619 grab, flipping back into the ring and kind of showing his behind and taunting Alpha Wolf back into the ring. At this point, All Rebellion hit the apron and took out the other guys. So Alejandro and Fujimura sending Alpha Wolf into the corner and then both running in to do several back elbows, followed by a back elbow from Harutoki and then a triple drop kick in the corner from All Rebellion. Really fun little team move there. There's a flying crossbody attempt by Alejandro on Alpha Wolf. Unfortunately, the size differential came into play here. He did catch him, ended up adjusting and redirecting him into a delayed and squatting brainbuster. Left poor little Alejandro in a heap there. Alejandro left at the mercy of Los Golpeadores and Endo, who knock Alejandro down with a double toe hold, then followed by a springboard moonsault by Alpha Wolf, and then a pair of standing moonsaults from Endo and Dragon Bane for 2. This team, these three, work very, very well together. I think that just the lucha background with that aerial background, it works again so well. From here, Alpha Wolf again with the Nom Nom. Nom Nom's on the hand of Alejandro and then calls for the boots in the corner, which Alejandro and Dragon Bane get up for that face smash. Alpha Wolf psyching a chop and then biting the trap of Alejandro. Again, the nom nom nomming. Before both he and Dragon Bane send Alejandro to the ropes, but Alejandro is able to kind of duck back and hit an insanely fast tilt-a-whirl head scissors on Dragon Bane, but he kind of he hit the tilt-a-whirl on Alpha Wolf and then transitioned the head scissors onto Dragon Bane and then coming back up and following up on Alpha Wolf with, I believe it was a tilt-a-whirl arm drag, that Mexican style arm drag there that they do. Very, very cool sequence from Alejandro, really taking out the much larger guys. So Harutoki back into hit Alpha Wolf with a big boot before monkey flipping Dragon Bane into the legs of Endo, both who came in to assist Alpha Wolf. So, to follow up here, Harutoki tricks Alpha Wolf into running into him, but then pulling the leg and causing Alpha Wolf to drop kick both of his partners. I'm going to put the clip up here because it's a very odd thing to explain. It was like he was running in, he just kind of scooped the legs up and he drop kicked his partners out of the ring. It was really cool. So big flying crossbody attempt by Harutoki on Alpha Wolf for 2. There's a great combo by Alpha Wolf hitting Harutoki in the head into the buckle. So kind of pulling him into the buckle, holding it there, and then kicking the buckle. I've seen it with the ropes, but I've never seen it with the buckle. So I thought that was really cool. And then follows it up with a swanton over the apron, or off the apron. So another trap bite by Alpha Wolf, as well as a headbutt and just a pop-up, which is Harutoki just coming down in a big old belly splash in the middle of the ring there, which he followed up with a thrust kick. So Endo in to clear the apron, hitting a big powerbomb backbreaker for 2 on Harutoki. And then Endo misses the godly knee in the corner and launches into a series of pin reversals with Harutoki, resulting in both men getting downed by double pump kicks, which were very, very, very close. So Fujimura in to pick up speed on the ropes and then hitting Dragon Bane with a huge, quick Hurricanrana, followed by a dropkick and a brainbuster for 2. There was a flatliner into the second buckle by Fujimura on Dragon Bane, followed by a springboard forearm, or a phenomenal forearm, for those of you who recognized that. Then from here, yes, the chaos ensues. So from here, everyone's in, chaos ensues. Alpha Wolf is sent to the outside, taking a plancha hurricanrana from Alejandro. Harutoki feeding Endo a tope suicida, and then his face to the floor. And this was what I was mentioning in the first match. There was another meeting of the floor, I think. It looked like Harutoki did have a bit of a goose egg. It did not look like it cut open, though, which it's good. We can't have him busting up that cute face. After that, yeah, attempting to, yep, okay, so back in the ring. Going into the finish. So thrust kick by Fujimura on Dragon Bane, but Bane absorbs it and then gives Fujimura the Burt and a poison Rana, then follows it up with his finisher Santa Maria for the big win. This was a really fun match. Again, I really enjoy Los Copiadores and their championship reign here. I mean, their first one was great. This one's even better. Really enjoying seeing them on this tour and how well they just kind of work with anybody that they are kind of put into the ring with. They just find a way to pick up that win and make things kind of work out. So Endo leaves pretty quickly after the match. Not surprising, he's not really a part of the team. He's not really holding any championship gold. It does kind of make sense to me that he kind of goes off on his own, but then it also makes sense given what happened next. So post-match, Los Copiadores are they're in the ring, they're celebrating, pomp in the circumstance, everyone's happy, rah-rah. And we see a familiar face come down to ringside, kind of dingly-dangling something off of his hand, and that is Tadasuke of Team 2000X, dangling one of Dragon Bane's masks, really, really nice one too, just dangling it and taunting him with it. This distracts both Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf long enough for Owadasan to hop in and just start smacking everybody with his little bat thing, and then Tadasuke also comes in and hits Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf with his chair. It looks like the next challengers for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships are going to be Owadasan and Tadasuke of Team 2000X. Very curious to see how that goes for them. It looks like they're already starting the mind games with them. I'm very excited about this. I'm also very excited that this company does promos, like in-ring promos. And I just say that because I'm spoiled because I don't get them like really locally here too much, and I don't get them in preparation for matches. So I'm really happy that I get them here and that Owadasan is just killing it. Much to the disdain of the crowd, booing, booing, booing. I love it. And I just want to point out that the character work of Owadasan since leaving I guess his Team Noah kind of union there and joining Team 2000X in January was a very, very, very good and very lucrative choice for him. So from here, we're going to move on to match number 3. This one's a shorter one, and this was our debut match that I was talking about in the intro. So we have our resident awesome guy himself, Daiki Odashima, taking on the debuting Will Kroos, I believe is how it is pronounced. Please let me know if I'm wrong and let me know the right pronunciation down in the comments, but I believe it is Will Kroos from the UK coming in. Big boy. We love our big boys here in Noah because the big boys they bring in, they know how to work. And boy, howdy, did Mr. Kroos know how to work. And much to the delight of Odashima, he looked like he was having a great old time being yeeted around like a sack of potatoes. So let's get into it. So we started off with Kroos gut-wrenching Odashima, who's trying to wrap his arms around his waist. Kroos just takes him and yeets him. And there's a clip of it going around. I believe that Noah has actually posted. Go check it out. It is crazy, and pretty much how the rest of the match did go here. Odashima did try to grab the leg. He got yeeted again. He's doing his best coming in with all of these strikes. He had the strikiest strikes he's ever striked in his life, and it just wasn't enough to move the immovable object that is Will Kroos. He had the droppiest drop kicks too. He was doing his absolute best. He could not get him to move. Trying for a crossbody, gets fall away slammed for his trouble. He fights back. Odashima fighting back, but Kroos does squish him in the corner while maintaining wrist control, follows him in and squishes him again before hitting a massive lariat and all of a senton right square on the chest of Daiki Odashima for 2. Lots of tossing around Odashima in this one. Big body slams. There was at one point, Odashima was able to counter what looked like a pile driver setup and tried to do a pin on Kroos, but Kroos counters it by dropping it like it's hot, but Odashima did kind of scooch out of the way and followed up with a drop kick. Odashima does avoid an incoming Kroos and skins the cat to the top of the turnbuckle to feed him a drop kick, which looked great. We love Odashima's drop kicks. They're always big height. But going into the finish here, Odashima missing a drop kick, getting picked up for a release powerbomb, landing on his feet. We have hope. Getting back up, hitting the ropes, and Kroos picks him up for a pile driver for the win. Very dominant introduction from Will Kroos. You can't ask for a better introduction to the company. Heck, I'd even say this was a heck of a lot better than the introduction from Omos. I'm very excited to see what it is that Kroos does, what he's going to come for. I wonder if he's going to find himself aligning with somebody in his time here, or if he's just going to lone wolf it and hope for the best. I'm curious to see, but very, very dominant start for Will Kroos. So we're going to go on to match number 4, and this is how many people are in this? 1, 2, 3, 10-man tag match featuring Team 2000X, which is the combination of Ozawa, Takashi, Sugiura, Daga, Tadasuke, and Owadasan, taking on my boys, Passionate Ratel, Manabu Soya, Hayata, Daiki Inaba, Saxon Huxley, and Yuto Kikuchi. I got very excited for 3 in the morning when this match came on, especially because I knew that these guys were going to perform so good, and I already had 2 amazing matches before this. So, Team 2000X rocking their new baseball jerseys. Again, if you guys want access to their merch, I will leave a link in the description box below to get it. They are on sale now. They look really sharp. I really like them. I'm sitting there considering getting one. And then, of course, Tadasuke coming out, twirling the Dragon Bane mask, setting up some more antagonization for that feud. So, getting into the match, Inaba starts the match by running in on Sugiura, which might not have been the right life choice given what ended up happening. A massive kind of chaotic beatdown as starts and ensues that leaves Ozawa alone in the ring and gives him time to give the crowd what it is they wanted from their champion, which is the breakdancing spinneroonie pin. I don't even want to call it a tranquilo pin anymore because Naito's not really wrestling. Well, we're gonna have to the real rebel taunt. We'll go with that. Yeah. Before joining Owadasan, who is beating down on Hayata in the corner. So this leaves Hayata and Owadasan finally alone in the ring, starting the match. Not officially, but like officially, in a one-on-one capacity anyway. Hayata is able to overpower Owadasan with an atomic drop followed up by a drop kick. So Owadasan pulling at the hair of Hayata and a beacon at the crowd, which is answered by Saxon Huxley grabbing Owadasan and kind of just straight up picking him up and straddling him on the ropes. And to which him and Hayata capitalize by each grabbing a foot and just playing a game of boinky boinky balls with Owadasan's balls. He was bouncing so high his feet were hitting the mat. It was hilarious. I was laughing. Everyone was laughing. And of course, the ref is just distracted by Team 2000X complaining about it. So it worked out. It worked out perfectly. Although that is what you get when you pull someone's hair without consent. Just putting it out there. So, former partners, Kikuchi and Tadasuke now in, and the partners knowing a lot about each other, going into one of those amazing sequences where they're just trying their best to do their moves, but they can't because the person keeps reversing and transitioning into their own thing, and then it just continues and continues. These guys are just, they know each other so well. There's one point where Kikuchi looks like he's going to dive, but he ends up having a close encounter with Tadasuke's chair, courtesy of Owadasan on the outside. Kikuchi is then unfortunately tossed to the mercy of the team in the corner and then gets tossed into a barricade and followed up with a big boot by Sugiura. So back in the ring, Tadasuke brings in Daga, who feeds Kikuchi a big drop kick before Magic Miking his baseball jersey off, much to the delight of the crowd. He also had it tied up in a cute little knot thing. Relatable. Do it all the time. Sugiura going in for a big boot on Kikuchi, but catching Inaba intentionally. We'll say intentionally. It was pretty intentional. Sugiura, yeah, one of the most dangerous people, I would say, in professional wrestling. I don't want to be on his bad list, and considering he's a bad guy, it doesn't seem like it's very hard to get on said list. Which means I should probably be watching what I'm saying. Please don't hurt me, Mr. Godfather. Yeah. That being said, though, Sugiura, I don't think that poking the passion bear, as it will, the Jonas bear, on Passionate Retels is a good idea either. You might want to pay Yoshihashi something more than some suckers to protect you from that one. I don't know. So, Ozawa coming in, making the most casual pin I've ever seen him make on Kikuchi, just laying back, putting his arms back. I was kind of a little annoyed about that, but it's Ozawa. That's what he does. He's kind of goofy like that. He's very much taking the match seriously, but he likes to antagonize people and get in their heads pretty easily. So, Ozawa, speaking of playing a game of Got Your Nose with Kikuchi after he backflipped taunt and then tries to follow up with a tornado kick. But Kikuchi is able to get his signature handspring kick to regain the upper hand. So, Soya in and shoulder blocking everybody, who then calls Saxon Huxley in and body drops everybody. And then they perform a passion shake on Soya on the ropes, leaving Soya a little bit baffled, a little confused. I think his flappers were gasted, but he came back onto the tracks pretty quick. So there's a chokeslam backdrop by Soya and Huxley on Ozawa for 2. Ozawa hitting his tornado kick as Daga comes in, but Ozawa is able to muscle him away. Daga, able to use his size and speed to avoid Soya, feeding him several strikes and kicks as he was kind of running by him. Really, really smart of Daga to do that, because Soya's a big boy. You don't want him catching you. Sugiura and Inaba in now, and Sugiura hitting a big boot, but Inaba hitting his battering ram, spear in the corner, and then calling in Manabu so that they can do the tag battering ram, followed by a sandwich forearm kick, and then a jumping knee drop by Soya and a sliding lariat by Inaba for 2. That's a lot of ish. Didn't put the big guy down. It's a little scary. Kikuchi coming in, hitting a tope con hilo on the team and leaving Inaba and Sugiura alone in the ring. So, big strikes coming from the big boys as Inaba hits a passionate headbutt. But then Tatsu, is this why we don't like Tatsu? Pulls the ref out. And that seems to be a thing with Team 2000X. Their big thing is pulling out the ref. Kind of like it, especially when you have the good timing that Tatsu has with that. So I don't know why we hate on Tatsu. No more hating on Tatsu. So going into the finish here, Diablo Wings by Daga before an Olympic slam by Sugiura, and Team 2000X picks up another win over Passionate Retels. In case you guys don't know, the Diablo Wings is that double underhook knee face buster that Daga does. Looks really, really slick. Sad to see my boys lose. They unfortunately did get outsmarted by Team 2000X. They're a smart team. There's some bad guys, but there's some smart guys. Smarty parties. Anywho, we're going to go in to match number 5, which is a singles match between Masa Kitamiya and Kazuyuki Fujita. This was a little interesting to me. I wasn't quite sure what was going on, and I think that's my fault for not investigating some stuff before this show, because I know there were some interviews and stuff with these guys. I just didn't get a chance to look at them. So let's get into it and talk about what was kind of going on. So Fujita came in fired up, very, very purposeful in this one. Like, he's usually very serious, but you can see like undertones of goofiness when he needs to. no undertones in this one. He was gotta work, gotta make that money make purse kind of thing. And when I say that, it's stiff shots from both of these guys. They were just in there, stiff shoulder blocks, stiff strikes, stiff kicks, stiff everything. It was, they were beating the shiznit out of each other. This was a big meaty men slapping meat match. On the outside, Fujita tossing Kitamiya around, choking him on the barricades, not once, but twice as he was tossing him around out there. Very odd. Again, there seems to just be some odd hostility going in here, and maybe that's why I feel like I missed something, because I felt like there was just maybe some tension that I was not aware of going into this. So back in the ring, Fujita applies a half crab in the middle of the ring, and he keeps Kitamiya in there for a good long time. And Kitamiya struggled a lot, and he eventually did make it to the ropes, but he was in there for a very long time. Another figure 4 by Fujita. Again, another submission. Very long time that he has it in. Again, Kiyomiya makes it to the ropes. I don't know what happened here, but like Fujita forgot how to release the hold, and the ref had to get in there and really reef on the feet to get it to break and stuff like that. It was a very odd match. It felt hostile. I felt danger. Again, just big beanie men slapping meat. The last bit of this match was these guys just hitting each other as hard as possible. Lariats back and forth, rattling both of these guys. Going into the finish, and this is why I thought it was very odd. So you see Fujita knock down Kitamiya with a lariat. And then you see him do a powerbomb. And you think he's going in for the pin, but he doesn't. He gets back up and he does these odd little kicks, 3 of them, I believe, to the head of Kitamiya before doing this just very odd, cocky, teabaggy pin and ending the match like that. Fujita picking up the win over Kitamiya. It was very odd. It was not something that I would characteristically see coming out of Fujita in my 7-month watching time of this show. It's also very rare to see Kitamiya being kind of beaten around like that. Usually Kitamiya is the powerhouse who is doing the beating around. So this was a very odd match. It kind of made me go like, what's going on here? I'm a little confused. So, moving on to match number 6. And the match I was most excited about is for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship. Yo, hey, yo, hey. Defending against Atsushi Kotoge. I was so torn in this match. I really like both of these guys. There's actually not a person in the roster or locker room that I think I don't like on Pro Wrestling Noah. Everyone has a really good purpose, and everyone has a really good character and a really good moveset and a really good amount of experience. It's just everything mixes so well together. So Yohei is just one of my favorites. Kotoge is also a really phenomenal wrestler, but I'm really liking Yohei's championship reign. So let's talk about this match, because this match definitely woke up my neighbors. So both man, bright hair. I couldn't tell if it was like red or pink. It was bright. It was very bright. I think it was pink, at least Kotoge's was, and I liked it. I really liked it. And I really liked how when they both came in, they were both wearing white jackets. But what was really cool was when they started the match, Yohei was in his signature black, and Kotoge was in the white, so it was very easy to tell which pinkhead was which. So Kotoge going into one of those just pin sequences right away, trying every pin that he could to try to get that quick win on Yohei to no avail. It looked like Yohei was going to go for a dive, but instead starts running around the ring, taunting Kotoge. Very interesting how the crowd were interacted, because they were people cheering for both of these guys, and at times it felt like they just didn't know who or how to cheer for them. So Kotoge attempting to do his little rope choke, but Yohei turns around and smacks him, tries to reverse it, does a little bit more taunting, and then gets caught in the submission anyway. This was a distraction for Yohei throughout the match, going to the taunts, playing with the crowd. He seemed a little distracted at times. So on the outside, both of the men are in each other's faces. Kotoge is tossing Yohei into the barricades. As Yohei is trying to get back in, Kotoge, who's already back in the ring, runs to the corner, hops off the top for a missile dropkick on the apron, and yeets Yohei back onto the outside. Knife edge chops from a fired up Yohei, and when he gets mad, he makes those chops very clap happy. Followed by a headbutt from Kotoge, though, for 2. Kotoge then puts a triangle choke onto Yohei, but Yohei is able to make it to the ropes. There's a tope con hilo on Kotoge by Yohei, bringing Kotoge in back for a top rope drop kick? I went Texan there. Drop kick. So after a huge series of reversals where both men are trying to just pull out their signature moves and not able to, Kotoge is able to nail Yohei with his cutter, the Maxim cutter, which is that rolling cutter. And Yohei, however, rolls through it, feeds him a thrust kick, and then both men are down. So there's a fun little bulldog by Yohei, followed by a sudden common G for 2. Big lariat from Kotoge and another kick, but it fires up Yohei instead of knocking him down. So Yohei attempting a code breaker, I believe, but Kotoge reverses it into an air raid crash, which was pretty crazy. Tornado DDT out of the corner, followed by a big palm strike by Kotoge for 2. There is a Canadian destroyer followed by a common G by Yohei for 2. And at this point, I was waking up my neighbors. I was like, what are you doing? Oh my God, this is the end of the match. It wasn't quite the end of the match, but I was going crazy anyway. So, Bamboo Dragonfly by Yohei. This is his special sparkle finish. Followed by a drop kick to the temple, knocking Kotoge down. Yohei picking up the win, retaining his title. Oh, I'm so happy. My anxiety for this match was so high because I love both of these guys, and seeing them fight, I was like, I don't know. We're going to just head flip it and go for the best. This match was fun. These guys were exhausted by the end of it. They pushed each other to their limits. You could see Yohei in the backstage comments. Afterwards, he was just... Whew, he was pooped. This was a great match, great defense for the champion. And of course, having his buddies Hayata and Kikuchi in his corner for this match must have been a really tremendous help. Also, after the match, Yohei is in there. He's about to take his title, and Hayata comes in and takes the title from the ref and hands it to Yohei and makes the claim. Yohei will be facing his friend and tag team partner Hayata next for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship. And if I thought I was having anxiety about Kotoge versus Yohei, Yohei versus Hayata, my 2 absolute favorites in this company. My heart is breaking, but you know that these guys are going to put on such a unique and entertaining match that it's not going to matter who wins. It's going to be so freaking good because who knows each other better than tag team partners? So, from here, it's time for the main event of the evening. Match number 7, and this was a special 25th anniversary match, and it was a special tag team match. I kind of called it an odd pairing, a mismatch team, if you will, and it featured the team of Naomichi Marufuji and Kenta taking on the team of Kaito Kiyomiya and Kenoh Team Kick has been separated, put in different timeouts. The dynamic in this match alone was worth watching for. It was incredible. So let's get into it. So, Kenta coming out. All the guys came out to their own entrances, which I love and appreciate because these guys are all main eventers. Kenta, though, getting Marufuji to sign the t-shirt as well, and tossing it out into the crowd for one lucky fan. I love that Kenta's doing that. And I love that he can do that. I don't know if he couldn't before or it just is something that he started doing or what, but like he just seems more chill in Noah. He seems happy, which makes me happy. So Kiyomiya and Marufuji starting off. Again, lots of reversal holds, lots of running the ropes, lots of arm drags. Ends in a stalemate with both of these guys holding each other's legs. And then, doing the put it down and then drop kicks. And it was a fun little way to start the match. So then we get the Kick Boys in, Kenta and Kenoh. And this became a bit of a sparring match where they were, arms up, striking, blocking strikes. There was one point where Kenta even lost his balance but popped back up pretty quickly, got back into it, continued the chops, continued the strikes, continued the kicks. It was a very interesting dynamic from usual tag team partners. Kenoh backs Kenta into the ropes, and instead of a clean break, he slaps Kenta in the face. For anyone ever asking why I say there's times where I want to see Kenoh kicked in the face, this is Exhibit A. This is why. This is your partner. Why are you slapping him in the face? I don't claim to understand the things that Kenoh does or the reasoning why he does them, but he does make for some good antagonistic entertainment. I'll give him that. The crowd, not too happy with that. But Kenta kind of gives him what for, tells him to sit the heck down, and they start feeding each other kicks to the back. However, Kenoh demands Kenta sit down as well. They kind of go back and forth. On the third request, though, Kenoh sits down and Kenta pulls in Marufuji, who then also kicks Kenoh in the back because why not? Double back elbow, double team by Marufuji and Kenta. Marufuji gets to work chopping the ever-living heck out of Kenoh, and then Kenta also does the same with his kicks. It was just smack attack on Kenoh today. Kiyomiya coming in fired up. So yeah, he gets fired up, taking down Marufuji with a drop kick, kicking back up, and then feeding a Frankensteiner to Kenta. Kenta unloads on Kiyomiya, not unloads. He unlocks the Kiyomiya. There are several, much like there's different variants of Gaga. There's Gaga, there's Gaga, there's Gaga, and then there's Gaga. Yeah, there are variations of Kiyomiya. And most of them are very nice. This version, not so much. I don't like Crazy Kaito. And when you're just smacking the shit out of somebody and they're just sitting there like, it's terrifying. And yes, Kenta unlocked this variation of Kiyomiya. He's just sitting there, just smiling as Kenta is just smacking the hell out of him. He hits a jumping knee, but then Kenta picks him up for a go to sleep. But Kiyomiya actually catches the knee and instead feeds a dragon screw leg whip to said knee. But Kenta follows up with a lariat, and both Crazy Kenta and Crazy Kaito are down. Kenoh in to challenge Kenta in a kickoff. Kenoh kicks Kenta into the corner where they trade run-in boots. Kenoh lands a spinning heel kick on Kenta, but Kenta follows up with like a kitchen sink knee. Marufuji in feeding Kenoh a combination of strikes and kicks and chops, just very, very fast. Kenoh fumbles his footing in the corner, getting caught into the tree of woe, and then Marufuji capitalizes by just booting him. Just casually giving him a kick in the face, and then Kenta coming in to do that John Woo delayed drop kick in the corner. There's a strike combo by Kenta and Marufuji that finishes up with Marufuji's move, the Shiranui, which someone recognized as a sliced bread number 2, but the pin is broken up by Kiyomiya. So Kenoh reverses a tower move. I don't know what they were trying to do. I think they were maybe going... I don't know. But Kenoh is on the shoulders of Kenta. Kenoh ends up reversing this in the corner, doing a Frankensteiner on Kenta, which allows Kiyomiya to run in and do a big European uppercut to Marufuji, who's still on the top rope, and then follows up with a top rope Rana. Kenoh with a top rope double stomp on Marufuji, followed by a shining wizard by Kiyomiya, and then Kenoh applies the Kenoh special, and Kiyomiya applies what I think is a figure 4 to Kenta, but Kenta is able to actually fight over to Kenoh and just start wailing on Kenoh while still in the figure 4 by Kiyomiya to break up the pin of the legal men. So, from here, we're going to go into the finish. So the finish, Kenoh hits a big high kick on Marufuji, followed by 2 top rope double stomps, 1 to the back, then 1 to the front for the pin win on Naomichi Marufuji. Really fun match. The crowd loved it. I loved it. It was a great main event. Always nice to see these guys just showing off what they're capable of doing. And you have someone like Marufuji, who's a legend in this business, getting in there and being across from someone like Kaito Kiyomiya, who is going to be a future legend in this business, plus Kenoh and Kenta, who are still actively working in legend status, if you will. It was very, very fun to see just the perfect combination of the past, present, and future of pro wrestling Noah in this match. Everyone shakes hands except Marufuji. Marufuji refuses to shake hands with Kenoh, flipping him the bird after slapping his hand, which I don't know why I found so amusing, but at 4:30 in the morning, anything's going to be amusing. So afterwards, Kenoh on the mic, I don't know what was said, but I kind of got it based on who came out. Ozawa has come out, and Kenoh is challenging Ozawa for the GHC Heavyweight Championship. I'm just sitting here going, I can't wait to see Kenoh get kicked in the face more. We are in a Kenoh needs to be kicked era right now, and I'm cool with that. I'm very curious to see what happens with this feud going into it, because Ozawa is very, 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 very good at antagonizing people and playing mind games. I'm very curious to see if he's able to piss off Kenoh a lot or a little before the next show, because it's very easy to piss off Kenoh. I'm curious to see how it is that these two kind of go into this feud and what Ozawa is going to pick on, so to speak, with Kenoh. So that brings us to the end of this episode, guys. What did you think? How are you feeling about the show? Did you guys prefer seeing Kenoh and Kenta as partners or as opponents? I'm personally on the fence. I can go either way. I'm just happy that Kenta's happy. That's all I want. I just want Kenta happy. And it looks like he's having a really jolly good time at Noah right now. So as long as Kenta's happy, I'm happy. What do you guys think about this dominant debut of Will Kroos from the UK? Like, wow. Power, power, power. That guy is going to be a very big, dangerous dude in this locker room. I'm very curious to see who they're going to put him against next. I personally would love to see him face any one of the Jonasta guys. Give him one of the Passionate Trio. Give him Huxley. Give him Inaba. Give him Manabu. I would love to see one of that. Even Fujita or even Sugiura. Although they might find that he fits better in Team 2000X. who knows? We'll have to wait and see how that goes. So leave your thoughts and comments down below about what you thought about all of that, and hopefully I can get to you sometime soon. But that being said, guys, this is bringing us to the end of this episode of Noah Unleashed. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and turn on the notification bells to be alerted every time we drop a new video. Make sure you also follow our local establishment on all of our social medias, which are linked all down below, and you can also follow me, Melball Collins, on Facebook under Collins Melball, or sorry, on Twitter under Collins Melball, on everything else, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Melball Collins. You can also catch Wrestle Universe down in the description box below if you want to watch any of the Pro Wrestling Noah. It is 1,298 yen, or approximately 13 Canadian, and that gets you access to 8 different pro wrestling companies that are happening in Japan right now. You want to get on that. That includes Noah, that includes DDT, that includes Marigold, that includes Tokyo Joshi Pro, and many more. So go check that out, and also make sure you follow Noah on all of its medias as well as its YouTube for any extra content. And that all being said, I am your Mel Ball. Matane!